Good afternoon or good evening, Miss. This is Team CEPSY. For today, we will be reporting our analysis of the urban elements, especially for our site, which is along Marikina River. This is an along riverside project. Our team is Team CEPSY, composed of Justin Kua, VIANA Evangelista, SHAINA, myself, and JACKELYN YODICO. Now, to begin with our reporting, here's background on our location, presented by Jackie.
So let me introduce first the Marikina City. Marikina City is known to be the true capital of the Philippines. It is also famous for being a flood-prone city due to its topography. Marikina lies in a so-called Marikina Valley, which extends to the south toward Pasig and Cainta River, Cainta Rizal, and Sierra Madre Mountains, which lies in the east, and Quezon City Hills to the west. During the Spanish period, Marikina used to be an important transport route. However, due to the rapid urbanization and increase of population, there have been an increase of pollutants, resulting to the river becoming polluted.
Okay, so thank you, Jackie. Now, in more detail about our site is specifically located along Marikina River at the exact location 1800 Kabayani Street, Marikina, Metro Manila, and we've chosen a site that's at least 500 square meters. Now, in our site particularly, we've identified that the activities found in this are biking, jogging or walking, and government activities such as seminars that are present within the buildings surrounding the area. Now, as Jackie has mentioned earlier, there are boundaries to Marikina River. So, to understand our site, we must also understand the river. Its origins from the north is, as mentioned earlier, from Rodriguez Rizal, and for the south, its origin is the mouth of Pasig River, as you can see on the right side of our presentation, guided by the map. Now, the physical characteristics of our location are as follows. This river specifically has a length of 78 kilometers or 48 miles. Its basin size is 680 kilometers squared. Now, we've also noted that the discharge is at least or at most maximum of 160 cubic meters squared. Now, the basin specifically is at the Progression Marikina and also Pasig. So with that, we would like to introduce our reporters. So for this presentation, we will be enumerating the 5 following elements. First, the buildings or building blocks will be presented by Justin Kua. Then it will be followed by the discussion of public spaces by VIANA Evangelista, followed by the discussion on streets by Jackie Yodico, transport by myself, and landscape by SHAINA. So to begin our reporting, Justin.
For the buildings, there's 3 noticeable structures found along our site, or specifically the Marikina River. So here is Marikina Youth Camp, the barracks, and a makeshift dwelling or a barong-barong. So what needs to be improved, or what we think can be improved? Let's first discuss about the structures. So here we have the first Marikina Youth Camp. So the Marikina Youth Camp, it is a government building near the riverside. There's a long 1-floor building beside it. This is a common venue for government activities and recreational activities. It's a favorite spot for bikers within the area. So the one we were discussing, the long 1-floor building, is what we can refer to the barracks. We didn't have much information about it, but when we use the Google Maps, if you zoom in closely, it says their barracks. So we will assume that what it's meant is barracks. So it's a long vertical structure, which its purpose is to house soldiers. Alternatively, for bikers and other people who chose to take shelter here, just like based on the map itself. So what are our improvements, or what we can suggest to make a better urban space? Well, from observation, there's a lot of space neighboring Marikina Youth Camp and the rest of the structures. So there's a potential to construct spaces that cater to recreational activities for the people who pass by. Maybe you could make a mini park, outdoor gym, and many others. Some may suggest that we could also make other things like commercial spaces as well, or something related to Marikina and close to them, like maybe shoemaking or so and so. And here we have the next part of our presentation.
So the next element is the public space. So alongside the erected buildings such as the Marikina Youth Camp is the Marikina Flip Rider Animal Trail. So what is it? It is a public space in front of the Marikina Youth Camp where bike youths around the city frequents a place to ride a bike and pull some stunts. Also, there are some government activities happening around there, like seminars and like firefighter drills. So one needs to improve to make it like a better urban space. So the team thought that separated areas for the kids and adults should be created since the adults are doing dangerous stunts that can harm not only themselves but also others, such as kids who are just biking around. A biking park, boat, or like a stall can also be placed to accommodate travelers who wish to use the proposed transportation modes by the team. Also, the public spaces can also be like there can be like mini parks for families and those who like to jog and walk, and like creating fishing areas from the dike to encourage locals to do fishing, which also can control the Johnny turfish infestation in the area. Also, like there's like a potential for commercial spaces such as night markets and food parks, just like the water developments in Hong Kong or in Sydney. Now for the next reporter.
Next is the street. So along the site or near the site, there are streets or pathwalks that are located near it. So first is the Riverbanks Walkway. Second is the Lopez Haina Street, and the third is the Andres Bonifacio Avenue. The nearest street is the Riverbanks Walkway. Walkways along the Marikina Riverbanks are dedicated to pedestrians and are bike-friendly pathways close to motorized vehicles along both sides of the Marikina River. So these walkways are only for the pedestrians and bikers. They are blocked for vehicles. So the team would like to improve this street by or walkway by adding separate bicycle lane, allowing people to walk freely without being interrupted bikers. So there could be a space for walking and a space for recreational activity. The team could also add more trees and grass, dividing the streets to the buildings. So there is an available space, just a big space just beside the street, but it is being used for parking cars. If the walkway could be improved, it could be pleasant if we could add more greenery along the street.
Now for the next aspect, which is transport. Now we've noted that there is currently no existing mode of public transportation that's addressed to the site specifically. For example, there's no direct route for a bus or the train. However, the site remains accessible through the identified streets around it. Now, with this idea, there's nothing to improve, or at least there is a need to introduce something new. And what exactly could we introduce? Urban Spices must provide access points through modes of transportation to immerse themselves in the urban landscape. Providing routes that join spaces immerses not only the site in the location, which is Marikina, but also the intended users or stakeholders for the project. These stakeholders could be the residents or even tourists or other people who pass by. The goal of urban transportation planning for this site is to develop a plan for an efficient and balanced transportation system for an urban area, one which will promote a desirable pattern for human activities, which we mentioned earlier. Now, for the proposed modes of transportation, we want to propose first the ferry house for incoming tourists and locals. The goal here is to introduce a means of traveling to and fro from the site with adequate capacity without being hindered by possible varying water levels. So as you see in the photo, there is this water boat, but it has this catamaran mechanism. So at least it's balanced and it's wide enough to accommodate more people. Since there are nearby residential areas, the employed vehicle must not cause any ruckus such as unwanted noise to prevent disruption of local ambience. And in connection to the streets, since there are already Mariqueños who are fond of biking and there's already a presence of bike shops nearby, adding rental bikes will encourage Mariqueños to have a recreational activity, and biking will promote a healthier lifestyle. Moreover, the presence of rental bikes in an area that already has the said bike shops will not be too much of a foreign concept for the locals. But for this transport, since there's no immediate route to the site, we noted that there are available vehicular transportations used across Marikina. As you can see, there are options for bikes, tricycles, SUV or FX vans, jeepneys, bus, and trains. If you look at the arrow, you'll notice that actually more people or more Mariqueños are more acquainted to using the vehicle that has a higher position on this line. Now for the next element.
For the last element, last urban element, so we have landscape. So we have observed that there appears to be no landscaping in the existing site. So the grass are bare, and there are few native trees scattered around the area. So we believe that it is necessary to have them to create a richer and more inviting environment for this space. This also reinforces the character of Marikina's natural beauty and foster a distinctive visitor experience for everyone. It is also beneficial economically that would help the locals promote their products such as the famous Marikina shoes and delicacies. So there was this study that people would come more to a place where landscaping is better. Landscaping promotes a very good ambience, and also it encourages people to be more active, and in doing so improve the quality of life with several physical and physiological benefits.
Okay, so with that, those are the 5 urban elements that we have discussed. First was the buildings, discussed by Justin Kua, public spaces by VIANA Evangelista, streets by Jackie YODICO, transport by myself, and landscape by SHAINA Pader. To summarize, our presentation was about what we have identified throughout our site, which is located in Marikina. And hopefully throughout this course, we will be able to produce this river park, as you can see on this slide. Essentially, this is the idea behind the proposal. And with that, we would like to thank you, Miss, for your time.